Okay guys, I know it's been a long time and I said I'd get you a video sooner, but anyway, life's got the better of me, so I didn't get a video to you sooner. So here we are just before New Year's though, and thought I'd get you up to date on how the project's coming. So anyway, we'll give you a walk around now, a little tour of where we are with it. Pretty much the rear of the car at this point has been finished up. I mean, there's still detail stuff to be wrapped up on it, but the paint work, most of the bright work has been test fit or installed at this point. So the two-tone on the rear of the car has been done, and anyway, so quite pleased with how it's come out and how it looks in the black and the Old English white combination. So the trunk lid is giving me a little bit of grief on fitment, but I think I finally got it all figured out and actually more or less happy with how it's fitting now. I think I've got a seal that I found that's not available through the commercial Healey world that is almost identical to the original in appearance and seems to do the trick as far as fitting too. So I'll give you a little tour of the trunk here in a minute just so you can see how that looks. I've got the power pack installed as of about 2-3 weeks ago, and I'm working towards getting that up and running, tested before I go ahead back to the front shroud as far as finishing the paint work on that and then installing that on the car, and I'm going to spray the shroud on the car at that point. So there's a shot of the overdrive and the trans unit. Actually went in really easily. Did it by myself. Took me about an hour to get it installed, and was actually quite pleased because it actually, when it lined up, it sort of just dropped in and really didn't have any problems with interference or hitting anything. We've tested the fuel system as far as the pump, made a few adjustments on the breaker set, but everything seems to be happy now at this point. So walk back here and just give you a quick look in the boot, and I've got the pretty much all the fittings and stuff for that all done as far as the gas neck. I've got the original battery disconnect switch there. That's original to the car. Completely disassembled it and replaced a couple of the studs, the bolt studs inside, and then restored all the components and re-riveted the brass eyelet rivets per original. The lanyard kit I've had in the trunk for quite some time now, so I'll step back here and give you an overall shot. I'll pull the mat out here in a second so I can give you a shot of the tank with the straps, which are all original. Pretty much everything on the car at this point, all the bright work, all the badges, all the little bits. I pretty much preserved everything original to the car and been able to. So here's a shot here with the liner out, and you can see. So these are the original retaining straps, and I got the exact style rivets, and you can see here from the side the buffer material that's in there. This is the original fuel sender, which was in perfect condition, works fine. It was just stuck from sitting. So this is the trunk seal I was talking about. The original trunk seal had you can see here, it's an additional edge at the back side which helps support the main lip when it gets compressed. And this is a little bit larger than the original, but it's a very similar shape and profile. All the early cars so far that I've documented all had a joint in the seal right at this point here. I know the common wisdom is that the joint was up here at the center of the lock, and that might have been true for other models or later cars, but from what I have researched and found on now my car and 2 other early models, the gap or the joint was clearly at this point in the middle of the trunk lid on both sides opposite each other. So in other words, it was 2 pieces that were joined together. So anyway, here's a sort of an overall shot of the lid for you. Like I say, I don't know if that's just an early feature or early design that they later went to the center fuse joint by the latch, which is quite possible. But like I say, I know for sure 59s and 60s that I've seen so far all have it the same as I've done it on this car. So let me close this back up, and we'll take a walk up to the front of the car, where actually I say all the metal from up here has all been, bodywork's all done, and it's an epoxy primer basically ready for the next stage here on the paintwork. So I'm going to get, like I say, the shroud done here once I get the engine up and running and sort of know that everything's tuned in relatively good order before I go ahead back to that paintwork. So I don't have the radiator in yet, obviously, but most of the other small related linkages for the carbs and the accelerator pedal, those are all done. Shot down here and see all those guys. The vacuum line for the distributor we installed the other day. Let's put the generator in. Still have the bracket for it, and which is still in black. I have to get that put into the green, obviously. So I haven't done the plates yet. I've had these plates manufactured because I wasn't happy with the existing plates. So as you can see, the one plate I did manufacture, which is the serial number plate, and my camera's getting a good sharp focus for you or not, but the there we go, it should be better. Anyway, that plate we had made 100 of. Actually, I had 100 of each made, and for both the valve tappet clearance plate, the Austin plate for here, I couldn't find exact plates anywhere in the world. I searched all over, but everyone had issues. So I've been making plates for a long time for my other business in the Jeep world, so I used that vendor and had those plates made. Magnus Carlson is in Sweden, and he's bought the lion's share of the plates and he has them over there. But so if anybody's looking for some really nice plates, you contact him. I do have a few sets that I held back here also in the U.S. So I think the front suspension, I can't remember on my last video, I think we covered all this or not, but I know there's certainly been more assembly since we last came to you. Actually, there was none of this was in here now that I think about it, because that was still on the rotisserie when I showed you the last video. So anyway, there again, this is all original hardware. Correct markings down to even the Zerk fittings, which have the little circled, connecting rings on them, that the original hardware did. Do have the tow hooks installed. I have them installed actually front and rear. This is original Healey hardware too, to put those on. Shot up in here of the steering box with the components that were Parkerized versus just painted. Now, come over here and get you a shot of the other side. Okay, I'll pan back. I'm going to go ahead and put it up on the lift, and I'll give you some detail shots there too. On the lift now, so I can give you a little tour underneath too here. So got tape up here under the cross member just to protect it from when we jack it up. So. There's the calipers, which are plated per original. We haven't decided yet which way we're going, whether we're going to additional paint on top of them, but the whole housings were plated in zinc, which is what was on the original ones. So, shot up to the brake light switch. Follow this back here and see the details on the clutch slave, ground strap. Look up here to starter motor, and up underneath you can probably just see to the oil filter housing adapter there. I don't know if we can see up clearly enough. Okay, linkage, yeah, that's actually pretty good. Up to accelerator linkage components, the oil pressure line. There's a look at the other side here quickly. I'll have a walk towards the rear. Of course, this is the battery cable, and then you've got your, obviously, your harness, wiring harness down the other side. There's the stay pull rod assembly, reparkerized per original. And I'll walk back here, and just a quick look underneath here of the rear suspension. Rear shocks are leaking a little bit, so I've got to pull those back off, and I've got a spare set that I'm probably going to rebuild and just have in reserve. So here's the rear tow hook, which I installed the other day. Decided to do these in parkerizing too, because then they're chip resistant, as far as, obviously, if you put paint on there, they're going to get chipped and broken. So, but the parkerizing is nice that way. It doesn't obviously chip because it's surface on the steel. So see, I haven't touched up the rivets yet for the rear shroud. There are your D-washers that I made for the rear straps. And here's the other side. So just make it so much easier to tie the car down in a trailer. Because with the Healey, as you know, it's not a lot of places to get it, and because it's so low, it makes it very difficult, to have a good point to go to without also damaging paint or something else underneath. So anyway, so I think that's pretty much a full tour here. Here we are just before January, and my goal is, of course, to have this guy done for the National in Louisville, Kentucky in June. So until the next time I come to you, hope everybody had a great Christmas, happy holiday, and until next time, take care.